Okay, I will call this meeting, Sunday County Commissioners to order for Thursday, December 16th, 2021. Join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Commissioner Paradiso.
Dear God, thank you for bringing us together today. We're challenged again with all these natural disasters and hardship, and we really appreciate all the people that are stepping up, helping others. That's what this is all about, you know, is our communities and helping those in need and making good decisions. So we ask you that you look over this meeting and guide us as we move forward. Amen.
Amen. Very nice. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Kirschner?
I am here.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Here.
Okay. So I will accept the motion to approve the digital audio video recording of our previous session from Tuesday, December 7th.
So moved.
I will second. Roll call, please. Kylie?
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Michelle is not here, obviously.
And I don't
Oh,
see.
she's due at 10:30. Okay.
Yeah, she's at.
So let us begin with commissioner reports. You're up.
Yeah, really don't have a whole lot to say today. We were going to talk about EMS meeting. You want to talk about that?
Sure.
Now, and
Sure.
I think we can move that. Bill's here. Go ahead. I'll let you.
Well,
I'll yield to you on that.
okay, well, we're gonna need, it looks like January 6th is kind of too early of a date, given the holidays and all the stuff that's going on. So, you know, we're working hard on trying to come up with some temporary quarters in Betsville and working hard and coming up with some more specific plans for ambulance buildings in the different areas that we're proposing. We think we'll be more prepared for that later in the month. So we wanted to, you proposed to move that meeting to the 20th. I think that's the date.
It's a Thursday night.
It's a Thursday night.
I mean, honestly, even if we just postpone to the 1st of February, I mean, really, because you're gonna meet 20th and 2 weeks later, you're gonna be in there, so I mean, it's up to you guys, but if.
We could do that and then maybe visit the individual groups, but we don't think the 6th is the
Right.
appropriate time.
Right.
We wanted to bring that up
Coming off the
in session just to kind of talk about it before we move the meeting.
So we'll schedule for the 20th, Bill, and let everybody know now. And if we're just gonna move it to February, we'll let them know that as well. But we'll send the notifications out.
If
our
you're thinking
trusted-
the 20th, because we have our township quarterly meeting tonight, I can announce it if you're thinking the 20th.
Yeah, that's probably a
Okay.
good place to announce
let's
it,
do
you're
that.
right.
Okay, we'll
Yeah, I
do the
appreciate
20th.
that thought. Yeah, we'll all
Yeah, I
be,
think we
we'll all
need
be
it.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really all I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
So I'll go back over to you now.
All right.
Thank you.
The only other thing that I want to talk about, since we're talking a little EMS, is where are we at, Stace, with our full-time people, and where are they now? And do we have them fully employed, if you will?
Well, you know, Ken, correct me if I'm wrong on anything, but our Betsville crew, our crew went up there on Wednesday. Danny took them up there and introduced them to the electeds and any of the EMTs, fire that was there. I think it was a pretty good meet and greet. They've been there. They're staying on the Bascom schedule just throughout the month of December, just to make, you know, we're not changing their schedule all
Right.
around just for this, so we're
So they're
gonna,
48 hours a week, is that what they're there?
yes.
So they already had their schedule laid out for January.
Basically
We're just keeping that.
for December,
Putting them in Betsville.
right, so for
I mean
Dec-
December.
yeah, December, not January. Once January hits, they're working on the schedule now to plan for January. But we just wanted to get through January, keeping it on the same schedule that, you know,
Okay.
that they were on when they were in Bascom. Ken, I don't know if you want to give any updates, but they're up there for the 48 hours. I think they gave an update yesterday at the coordinators meeting, said they were doing quite well.
And then the other two, we've got a total of 4, is that right?
Yes, the other two are still in Blueville, and they are still on the day shift, as the Betsville crew is on the night shift.
Okay, well, that's good. So we've got 48, we got 96 hours where we have full-time people available for the county at this point.
In the county, one of your questions I think you were getting at is, and this is good for the public, we're getting reimbursed for those 4 people starting like December, right? We have agreements to be
Yes, I have
reimbursed.
we've got
Officially
received a check from JLB, right? The 26,000 from
Yes.
JLB.
already.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Because we do not have the staff to cover New Regal now, we are not charging New Regal, just because we don't have the staff, we don't have the ability to get staff over there right now. So right now it's just Betsville, and then obviously Bloom Scipio. I think they agreed to start paying in December is what
Yeah.
she said you mentioned, is they didn't have
I'll
to start.
follow up and triple check that.
They were,
I saw
I mean, as
that
long as our
email. I
board is
saw
okay with that.
email.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're good, we just wanted them, that's, my
Okay.
assumption was after the EMS meeting, December 2nd, they would start paying December 1st,
Oh,
going forward,
okay, and I just assumed they were gonna be like
back or.
JLB went back to August, so.
But I personally would be happy if they,
Okay, so we got 4 full-time people, and we got 96 hours coverage.
there you go.
One in Bethesville, one in Bloomville, or thereabouts. And Ken's also interviewing more people, part-time, full-time folks.
Yeah, Ken, I'm gonna let you take that one.
Yes. Okay, yes, sir. I'm having a little bit of trouble. I think our internet connection's going in and out, but we do have 4 people on. We are orienting a new hire right now. And we are still actively hiring people as we speak. We haven't had as many applications as we'd like. And I think as soon as we move to a 24, 48-hour shift, we will see that increase dramatically. As soon as we have quarters available on the west side, we are going to discuss moving to a 24, 48 as soon as possible with the crew that exists there now. And I don't think we're too far from that. I spoke to Mr. Naderer, and I spoke to the fire chief, and I spoke to the EMS coordinator in Betsville, and we're working towards that goal. On the east side, it's a little more complex to get quarters available, and the crew is continuing to run the 4 12-hour shifts for 48 hours a week on the east side, and it's working out pretty good. And I think we're going to, if we can, like you asked earlier, if we could get part-time people hired in, we'll be able to utilize them in the New Regal area 1 or 2 days a week as needed. And I know that the coordinators there are anticipating that, and we're doing our best to get people hired. But with offering only 12-hour shifts, there's just not very many people interested in it. And frankly, I think a lot of folks want to see if we're going to fall on our face before they decide they want to jump ship somewhere else and come to work here, which is pretty common in any industry, but EMS more so. And I think we have a really good start now, and I'm looking forward to some success in Betsville and Blueville. And I thank you guys for that.
Okay, thank you, sounds good.
Okay, why don't,
Okay.
you've got
We'll jump into
the
that.
background? Sure, go ahead and do that.
Okay. So Jimmy, we're going to recognize we're going to read our proclamation. Is this a good time?
Yeah, and Tara said that we might have the veteran here with us online. So if you are online, Alice or Win Shuba, if you're on, you can go ahead and turn your video on, turn your mic on now. I'm not 100% sure if they weren't sure if the devices were going to work out. So,
Okay.
but maybe go ahead with the proclamation, and then if you are on the call with us, Alice, go ahead and come forward, and we can chat with you after you read the proclamation.
Okay. Yeah, I'm privileged to read this proclamation. Whereas Alice Marie Miller of Green Springs served as a nurse in the United States Navy during World War II. And whereas Miller, who is set to turn 101 years old on January 20th, deserves the honor and recognition of the community for her service to the community and to our nation. And whereas, as we approach Miller's birthday, the Seneca County Board of Commissioners wishes to bring attention and recognition to her efforts during the war. Miller served as the at the U.S. Naval Hospital in Bremerton, Washington, among several other hospitals across the country. She also spent time aboard a hospital ship, the USS Solace. She began her service in January '43, served 4 years, 6 months, 21 days. Wow. And whereas Miller comes from an era where women were not often recognized for their contributions to the military. We hope this proclamation serves as a clear and powerful reminder to our community's great appreciation for the military veterans and active duty military members who have fought and continue to fight for our freedom. And whereas we, as Seneca County citizens and as Americans, are forever indebted to heroes like Alice Miller, and we have the utmost appreciation for her unselfish actions and sacrifices during a turbulent time of our nation's history. Therefore, be it resolved that this Board of Commissioners, Seneca County, Ohio, recognizes the distinguished military service and career of Alice Marie Miller as a nurse during World War II. In honor of World War II veteran Alice Marie Miller, the witness thereof, the Board of Seneca County Commissioners have hereunto set our hand on this proclamation, the 16th day of December in the year of our Lord, 2021. Signed, Mike Kirshner, Anthony Paradiso, Tyler Shuff. Wow, what a lady. Jimmy, anybody?
Yeah, and there's a phone number on here. I'm not sure. Alice, are you with us? Seems like somebody's trying to connect, but I'm not 100% sure. We might be having technical
When?
problems.
Anytime during the meeting, if she's able to connect, go ahead and interrupt us, Jimmy, and we'll go from there. You want to talk about it?
Just a side comment. So I Googled the USS Solace, the hospital ship, and it was docked in Pearl Harbor when the bombing occurred. And then Miss Miller came in '43, but this ship was very, very, very active all over the Pacific, and was ultimately retired about when she came out in March of '46. They decommissioned the ship, and it's pretty interesting. All the battles, all the islands that the ship was at, and I just can't imagine, veterans just boarding that ship constantly and what she went through. So, very, very appreciative.
And it looks like someone's
awesome.
trying to talk here. I'm not sure. Is that you? It's that phone number. Hello?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, might be technical issues. Okay.
Back to you, Commissioner.
Okay. Stacy, I kind of stepped over the administrator's report.
Oh, that's okay. I'll just go into old business. I really didn't have much of a report. I'll kind of stick on the EMS topic just for a minute. I got a call from Kevin Reinhardt before we left for conference last week. And as you recall, the Bascom board was in here and had asked for a 90-day extension to our termination. And you guys had authorized me to go ahead and send that letter authorizing the extension, which would be May 21st, 2021. He called last week and gave me an update and said that he would like that date moved up to the 1st, May 1st. And I said, well, I haven't sent out the letter to yet. We'll be leaving for conference. I said, I'll mention it to them at board. So I held off on the letter as long as you guys are okay. And at their request, they want that date to be May 1st, 2021. And
Okay.
so that's what Kevin asked for. He also asked me the status of 202. They had requested if we would transfer that to them. We dug out the title. Ken is having his technician finish up getting the county stuff out of that truck. Under the ORC, we are allowed to transfer unneeded, obsolete objects to other governmental entities at no cost, and we do not have to put it out for bid. As I think we mentioned before, we looked on Gov Deals. It's actually, since something's wrong with the motor, it's minimal. So if it's okay with you guys, once EMS, the Ken gets done with getting the stuff out, can we go ahead and get the title of this one transferred? I mean, no cost, we don't have any costs for them, the motor needs replaced, that's what they'd ask for. They had also asked, we talked about the cot that's in 201. He had asked about if we would purchase a new one for their new ambulance instead, which is like a $40,000 cost. So my first reaction was no, if we're gonna buy a new cot, we'll buy a new cot for ours. But I wanted to bring to that to you as well, that they could remove the cot out of 201 once they get ready to turn that in. We'll have the ambulance inspected to make sure it was taken out appropriately. And we'll take 201 back that they can have the cot.
Well, I think it was pretty clear in our conversation that the transaction would be that they would take their cot and that we would give them 202,
202.
and that we would pay whatever the heck it was. Well, I guess we wouldn't pay anything,
Nope.
would we? Yeah,
Mm-mm.
because they would have their cot and the ambulance.
Yep.
So I think that I would like to see the agreement from Derek, and I'm good with the first, right? But
Okay.
aren't we going to have some, this is all part of this final agreement, right? Or is it, you trying to separate this?
I'm trying to separate this.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
not-
these have a different meaning than what the contract that you guys had talked about a couple weeks ago. I'd gotten some notes from Mike to work into that agreement. I gotta get with you yet on your notes, your takeaway from that.
But we're
I-
pulling the cot and the vehicle out.
Right.
This is this conversation.
Yep, because the
Okay.
contract is more of what we're gonna do
Can you summarize?
when they're no longer part
So
of,
go ahead and summarize what, I get the parts, but I'm not clear on truck, cot.
yeah.
and
202 is the squad that the motor blew on it.
That was our backup.
That was
yeah.
that was their second squad.
Yeah,
And so
That's what-
we had it checked out by a company, BD Diesel. They gave us a quote to replace the motor. We had Tiffin Ford give us a quote. And obviously it was more than what we were willing to spend, especially for the old of the vehicle, 2005 vehicle. So we were gonna place it on Gov Deals once we got the stuff out. That's when Bascom said, well, you know, can we have 202? Their cot's still in 202, so that was kind of what you guys talked about here. So 202, they would like us transferred to them probably as soon as possible. I think they want to get started on maybe replacing the motor. I'm not sure.
okay.
But Kevin said that he would like that as soon as possible. And then he also asked about paying for the cot, if we'd buy a new one. I said, I think that's a little bit out of our price range, that you could take the cot out of 201, which is their
Is there
main,
another cot somewhere that,
In 202.
in 201, there's a cot?
they're 201, and that's
Okay,
the
so
one
we're
they
taking
will,
201 back.
the truck.
Okay, so there are two cots. There's one in 202 and
Yep.
201. This
Yep.
is where I'm confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna keep the one in 201 because they're buying that truck. Or we're giving them
Yeah.
that truck.
Okay,
202 was a cot that they got with grant money.
Right, so what's gonna happen to that cot?
Well, they're gonna remove that and keep it and put it in a new ambulance that they're gonna buy, evidently.
I got it.
I would have much preferred that we kept that, but the money just doesn't work. So we can buy a new cot for 201. That will probably go to Bettsville. 201?
That'll be up to Ken. I think he
Okay,
has a
well,
plan.
Anyway, so 201 will now run as part of our countywide system at some location, but we'll have to install a new cot in that.
Okay, Ken, you good with that?
Yes, sir. We actually have another power cot ready to go, so if Bascom takes that one, it won't hurt us, but we will need to buy another one, an additional one in the future. Interestingly enough, this coming year, we'll be eligible for BWC Safety Intervention Grant again, and we will apply for that.
Okay. so
And also
I
an
got- I
auto policy,
understand
we'll do
now.
both 1 year, and we'll get both of those items back on grant money.
I-
And just so you guys know, all of those items were bought with grant money.
Okay, just as a review, Ken, for me, I'm a little slow sometimes.
Could you
What
sit
will-
next to
how
me?
many
We'll
trucks
slow it.
after Bascom exits will we end up with as a countywide system? Fully equipped trucks.
Yeah, I'm sorry, there was a radio talking in the background that I can't turn down, but I think you said, how many trucks will we have total?
Yes,
We will have 7 trucks total, and we
Okay.
have 2 trucks on order right now from the manufacturer, and 1 should be coming February, March.
so we will have 9 then theoretically.
Yes, and we're gonna sell the oldest of those trucks with gov deals, and probably one of the second oldest trucks to get rid of it, because it's been a maintenance nightmare. A couple of our trucks have really cost us a bunch of money on maintenance.
And what do you consider full capacity then truck-wise? I mean, how many are you comfortable with under the proposed system?
6.
6? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we'll have enough to fully cover the county? Okay.
Yes, we'll have 6 first-run trucks, and we'll have a backup truck, and that'd be fine. We'll have 1 backup here, we'll have 4 first-run units, and a backup unit on the east and the west. That's 6 total, and then 1 backup here, just in case something happens, you know?
Okay,
And that's a total, that's all we would need.
okay.
And at the end of this contract, when we get our 2 new trucks next year, we will have exactly what we need to do, and we'll have 5 trucks with the identical rear end layout, so we can standardize our equipment loadout and where everything is inventoried in the trucks.
Yeah, your Echo guy is driving county-owned truck?
Yes, sir, and we do have a new one of those on order, but we have no idea when it's gonna come in because of Ford's supply chain delays.
Okay, that's not a fully equipped ambulance, that's a pickup truck, right?
Yes, sir, that's a pickup truck. That's a paramedic first responder, meaning that it's a ALS fly car or Echo unit where they go
Okay.
single unit, which is 1 person with all their equipment, and meet the BLS crew on scene and increase the standard of care. It's called a 2-tiered system. I know we've talked about it. It's probably not important right here.
Very good.
So with that summary, I'm okay with everything you said, and we'll just change the contract to May 1st.
Yep, okay. Make sure you
Done.
guys are okay.
You and I are gonna sit down, get my
Yes,
comments,
yep.
we're good.
Yep, that's all I
Okay.
need to do now.
Thanks for that winded explanation, but maybe the public learned something out of this as well.
Nope, that's okay.
It's
Sometimes
good.
it's confusing because
Yeah.
I know 201, I know 202, I hear Ken talk about it all the time,
The
so,
cot thing got me.
yeah.
I knew we had 2, but I was only following 1, but I mean, I get it.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so another thing I'd added under old business that wasn't on there is I have a couple things under the ARP. The auditor's office asked me to put it in by resolution, because I guess we used to do that for the CARES. So there's a couple items we had talked about before. The salaries for the jail, having the correction done, to authorize ARP money to be used for salaries for jail employees. I had asked the sheriff to get me a letter verifying that, you know, those employees spend at least 50% of their time, you know, mitigating COVID as allowable under the ARP guidelines.
Is that a requirement for the reimbursement?
What's that?
Language you just said?
Yeah, the language changed
Because it's
from,
not just sheriff payroll.
right, yep, they changed it from the
Right.
original CARES, that you could use it for 100% public safety.
Yeah.
Under the ARP, they kind of changed it to say that they have to be spending at least 50% of their time mitigating
That's the first I heard that.
COVID, but it's still allowable. If you do it over 50%, you can assume 100% of the cost, but they have to we have to have it, want a letter from the sheriff, and as long as we authorize it, then it's allowable up to the 100%.
So really, it's all about proper documentation.
Yes.
You can certainly have that stuff in place.
Yep.
So do you feel comfortable transferring it before you have all the documentation in place?
Yes, because the sheriff has put the information in an email. He sent me his policies. I just asked him if he could put that into a letter format.
All right, perfect.
So what the total correction will be out of the ARP for Medicare, PRS, and the salary line is about 2.2 million that would be credited back to the general fund. I'm also asking that starting in 2002, instead of doing the correction as well for EMS, I would just like to start paying for payroll for the EMTs that we hired and the Echo paramedics starting first pay in 2022.
From the ARP money?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Does that affect the budget line under EMS then? It just stays in there?
Right.
Okay,
Yep. Yep.
which we'll need.
Which we'll need for our plans going forward.
I like that.
Yep.
Just again, to emphasize how important this is, or at least it unrestricts, if there's such a word, such dollars from the American Rescue Plan that goes to the general fund that allows us to spend that money as we think appropriate, as opposed to having to follow the covenants as addressed under the American Rescue Plan. So you have $2 million that's transferred to the general fund from American Rescue Plan to reimburse us for salaries. That money then is at our discretion as to how we spend it. Is that fair?
Yes,
Okay.
it's allowable
But it
expense.
But it fits the
Right.
ARP guidelines. We have to be real careful. You
Yes.
can't just spend all that money, and this is,
Right.
I get it, yeah.
It's a correction. So basically what the correction will show is that the salary line of the ARP has paid for it. So that's what the correction's gonna do. It's just going to allow the entry to be transferred, or it's not even a transfer, it's a correction for the general fund.
So we, as commissioners, I feel good, because you have your committee and your Julie and
Yeah.
Derek if you need him, and
Yep, Ellie's been a big part of it.
which is the prosecutor's office, so.
And we could put some money in capital improvement plan or account. We could put some money in the contingency account, the rainy day fund, so to speak.
Yeah, not directly from ARP,
No,
that's not
not
allowable,
that.
but
That's
any of
why-
our carryover
Yeah, from the carryover,
in the
yeah.
general fund,
Got it.
yep.
Okay.
So, those two,
I follow you.
um,
Is this part of new business?
the old, because we've been
Because I
talking
don't
about
see this on here.
ARP.
Okay, that's why I don't see it.
Yep, because that
Okay,
was
so
one.
You're just telling us, are we acting on this?
I would like to on those two, that way we can get the
Yeah.
correction done yet this
Okay,
year.
So I didn't mean to jump ahead,
No,
but,
it's all right.
so before we go to new business, then we'll act on what you just said.
Yep, and those were the only
Sorry,
two.
Mike, I was-
No. So specifically, what type of motion do you need?
Approval of the American Rescue Plan Act fund request for various apartment allowable under the federal guidelines, specifically the correction to the general fund for the salaries, Medicare and PRS, and also allowing EMS employees, EMTs, paramedics to be paid for out of the ARP fund as of pay 1 of 2022.
Okay, is there any limits on that? Are we gonna say up to,
That
or
2.2 number, or just that, does that
The
work?
2.2 is only
for the
the
reimbursement?
But
reimbursement.
this allows you then to continue
Yes.
to do what we described. Okay,
Yep.
I will make that motion.
Okay,
I understand it.
and I will second. Any additional discussion? Kylie?
Thank you.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Okay,
Totally understand it.
I think we're close enough to our court-appointed special advocate group that's here, CASA. Michelle, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're up. If
welcome.
you'll come on up to here so you can get on camera.
Oh, you want me on camera? Well, I also brought one of my board members, David Kent, with me.
Hi, David.
as well.
David, welcome.
You gonna speak? You gonna speak a little bit?
I might.
If
Just
I
ask
make
you to
them.
come up, and
Okay.
none of us are immune from the camera, just so you know. We've got cameras everywhere, so.
So my name is Michelle Hess. I'm here from Court Appointed Special Advocates, or CASA. We've been a nonprofit organization in Seneca County specifically for 31 years. So a little bit familiar in the area. If you don't know us, we do not serve tacos. I promise you that. We have gotten a couple of those calls. I promise you we don't serve tacos. So if you don't know about our program, we train everyday people to advocate for abused and neglected kids in court. So how that happens is when Children's Services gets involved in a case where a child has been abused or neglected and they find that that family needs some court intervention, they'll file some paperwork to get that family involved in court services, and the judge then will appoint a CASA or guardian ad litem to be their advocate. Kids can't really go to court and speak on their own behalf in that situation. It's very terrifying, very scary for them. So that's why we have the advocate there to do that for them and represent their best interest. So, we've had quite the year with COVID, 2 years with COVID, and I was going to report on some of our recent numbers with that. So this year, right now that we're going through 2021, I just looked up the numbers this morning, we are advocating across our 3 counties for 273 children, with only 54 volunteers covering those 273 children. In Seneca County specifically, we're advocating for 115 children with 27 volunteers. And if you compare that to our 2020 numbers, we served 228 children with 62 volunteers across the 3 counties. In Seneca County specifically, it was 89 children with 32 volunteers. So you see we've had quite the increase in cases this year with a decrease in our volunteers. We expected to see that last year due to our reputation of having volunteers that are a little bit older, have some health concerns, so we're losing some volunteers due to COVID to go and advocate for these kids. And with the stressors that COVID brought on financially, mentally, parents are going through a lot, and so we're seeing a lot more cases and abuse and neglect with our children here in this county specifically. You can even compare that to our 2019 numbers, so normal year without COVID, we advocated for 235 children with 54 volunteers. And looking at Seneca County specifically, that was 73 children with 25 volunteers. So we're still, ramping up here in this 2021 year with more cases, less volunteers. And financially, it's hitting our program, well, any nonprofit, quite hard. So if you look at when COVID started, we've had a 56% decrease in our grant awards, and our main grant that we receive, a VOCA grant, has been decreased $61,000 over the past 2 years. So we've had a 19% increase in cases, 12% decrease in volunteers, and 50% decrease in grant awards. We're not letting that stop us. These kids need us, need our program to represent them and protect them within the court system and make sure that they, get through this very traumatizing time in their life with someone that's recommending what they think is in their best interest.
Can you read that? Can you summarize that again, please?
The numbers?
Your numbers.
So we've had a 56% decrease in grant awards, 19% increase in cases, and a 12% decrease in volunteers.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you guys come in? Is why are we here? So the number 2 area where funding comes in is through Judge Meyer in the juvenile courts. While VOCA, which is Victim of Crime Act, we were receiving quite a good amount for them for a number of years, and it was fairly stable. Like she mentioned, the significant drop-off in funding, while we don't, when we budget, and we just were going over, I think yesterday the board was talking about our 2022 budget revisions and everything. We plan now for the foreseeable future to see lower VOCA grant funding and the like. So we've had to make that up. And we're now, increasing fundraising, the efforts that Michelle does to pound the pavement, letter campaigns and fundraising all around. We're trying hard to fill the gap, but just to know that your funding through the juvenile court system in part helps this. We save the county money, significant money. While I don't have the direct figures in front of me, but if you were to look at the appointment of a lawyer to be an ad litem versus what our CASA volunteers cost in the occurring expenses, it does save the county money. So that being said, just to put that on your plate, that we are an organization that has a lot of benefits to not only the children, which is the number 1 focus, but to the county and to the court system. So
I think maybe there's 2 appeals here.
Mm-hmm.
One is to us to at least consider some funding, right? And the second one is to ask for some volunteers. The human resource element, I think is probably as important as is the money. So those of you out there who have any thought about potentially advocating for some kids in court ought to consider it, and call Michelle or call your office, and I'm certainly sure that they'll tell you the procedure. It's not easy. I mean, you got to go through a process,
background.
and you got to learn, exactly what it is you need to do for those kids. But I think that it's very rewarding, and would be rewarding to anyone that might have the time to do that. So let's talk about the second thing, the funding thing. What do you think, and what are you asking us for? Give us some type of number, give us some type of reason. You've given us the reason that if it weren't for you, we would pay for some public defenders to advocate for the kids, right? But tell us what that, give us some quantitative number here
Yep.
that we can talk about.
Well, part, I don't know if you have anything, but we're kind of here hat in hand. Anything helps to at least be considered for some type of direct funding could help, or additional funding through the court system. Anything would help. Obviously, with that significant drop-off, we could share some numbers with you, like if you want to, at a later time, more detailed figures on what we can go through, but Michelle has a lot of more direct information she can share with you on some
Are
of
you
that.
a United Way agency?
Not in Seneca County, no.
Not in Seneca County?
No, there's a stipulation, or at least a year or so ago, there was a stipulation with the way our program is designed in this county that doesn't correlate with that.
So I think the proper way to handle this at this point in time is, because of sunshine law, it's just one of us can come to one of your meetings. So if you would let us know, do you have a finance committee?
Mhm.
Okay, so the next time either your finance committee or your board meets, let us know, and I'll make sure that one of us attends that, and we can talk more specifically about what it is you need. I don't know, under the parameters of the COVID money, if there's something that might be eligible here.
That I would have to look into, but I do want to remind you, back in September, Derek Devine did send us a letter talking about the decrease in funding for VOCA, and had asked the commissioners for an additional $25,000. There was a change that was passed in Congress that it may make this 1 year hit and not reoccurring. So they were asking for $25,000 additional from us to compensate victims' assistance. So I don't know if that was in turn money related to you, but we had the 3 judges both respond to his letter requesting it from us,
And we did agree to that.
supporting that. Yes, we just haven't put it in place since it's for 2022.
Okay, so we need to maybe, figure some of this stuff out and see how much direct impact it has. Now, Michelle, do you think that, I listened to your numbers, I know there's some dramatic increases. Is this an anomaly? Is it just a spike? Do you think things will level off again if we ever get through the pandemic or the endemic or whatever the heck it is? Do you think things will come back to a more normalized number?
It's hard to say, because the impact that COVID is having on children specifically. I know we've done a little bit of research and training as staff and volunteers as to the trauma that it's causing our kids. I don't know if you guys have heard of ACE scores before, but when a child goes through something traumatic at a young age, the more things that they go through impacts later in their life, health issues, shorter lifespan. So we've seen research is already being done that any school-age child going through COVID right now is getting an ACE score of 1 just from that, because wearing a mask. My niece specifically is scared when one of her friends goes home sick, and she doesn't want to play with them for weeks because she's scared
Sure.
of that. And so the impacts that this is having on our kids, I think we're going to see it for years to come.
I know there might be some issues with your building as well. We can have that discussion privately. But this is another great opportunity. We talk about all the different volunteers across the county. This is another great example of a board. Dave, thank you very much for being part of that. You've got how many people on your board?
Was it 8?
A number, 7,
Yeah.
10, something. So I mean, another great example of people across the county, not only volunteering for your board, but also then volunteering. 54, is that what?
Yes, we currently have 54 volunteers.
54 volunteers. I mean, what a great story that is too, of folks that give their time for that. We talk about EMS volunteers, we talk about museum board volunteers and all those kind of things, but this is another example, and thank you very much for your service with that.
And thank you guys for allowing us to come and speak. And if I can just say, if anyone is thinking about becoming a CASA volunteer, you know, we can definitely contact our office. We can have volunteers speak, but I don't think there's one volunteer that we have that doesn't believe in the rewarding of our program.
Yeah.
You see the direct impact you're having on a child's life, and to know that that is going to impact them for the rest of their life and really put them in a better situation, and who knows how their life would have turned out if you hadn't stepped in to do that. So to see that and know that you guys, our volunteers, did that work is, you know, there's no other feeling like it.
Sure. God bless you for your work. Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions? Tony, go ahead.
No, I mean, you nailed it.
I'll
Thanks.
open it up. If anybody has any questions, you're certainly.
You have one question on your board, so how are new people, how's your board continue? What happens there? Is there representation from all 3 counties? Is there,
Yes.
if there's an opening, how does that, yeah.
So there's some openings. You want to join?
Explain to me how that works, yeah.
Well, there's an introduction to the board. Like if somebody does want to be a part of the organization, we ask that there be, attendance at a meeting, introduction, go through the recruitment committee, which was primarily Andy Faber, who is the president, and I'm the vice president.
No, Andy.
And just kind of an introduction, make sure that the individual has, I'll say, an aligned interest in the organization's missions. And from there, it's, let's see how we can get the person acclimated and into the working with them as much as possible.
I think the only requirement that we have is a board member has to live in one of the counties that we serve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions?
You talk
comments?
about what kind of fundraising do you guys do to help some of this?
We've been trying to get really strong fundraisers in each county, just to tap into each one of those resources there, because it is beneficial that we are covering 3 counties. So in Sandusky County, we have a fundraiser that's going on its 10th year. So it's a really strong fundraiser, Stars Dancing for CASA. It's kind of mocked off of the TV
that's a
show
big thing.
where
Yeah.
people vote for whatever dancer they want with dollars.
That's awesome.
And we
Yeah.
raise quite a bit of money with that one. Here in Seneca County, we just had our 5th Tiffin Zombie Run 5K, and that one's starting to pick up more, getting more recognition with that fundraiser. So we hope, next year have an even better turnout. Wyandotte County, we're trying to get a wine and purse bingo started with that, but that one's been a little bit slower process with that. And then we have occasional smaller fundraisers like the Ballman Big Charity Raffle, where they raffle off new cars and then they donate all their sales to local charities, and we're a part of that.
The letter campaign is going on right now, so I think that draws a lot from the community as well. So we're continually adding new names and addresses on the letter
I think
campaign.
this might be a great feature for
Good.
Vicki. She's kind of looking for ideas once in a while for a feature article, and I think highlighting what CASA does would be a great story, especially this time of year.
Yeah, because she does featured articles.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that would be
Selects,
great.
but Vicki, we get you information. You can talk afterwards.
Okay. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
taking the time to
guys.
come here, and thank you for volunteering. Thank you. Okay,
Good cause.
new business.
Okay. Let's see. Sure I got these up here. And I'm gonna do one that I had under old business. Last week when we made the 2% adjustments for the general fund, I hadn't had time to get the recalculation of the non-general funds increases in. So the changes will be for real estate, the Treasurer's DRETAC Fund, Health Insurance Fund, Justice Center Fund, and the dog warden fund. Also, testing the new VIP, the system we were using for the budgets this year. The auditor's office had used Victims Assistance Fund number 2158, and just must have forgot to clear it when they were testing it, so we had passed a budget for them. So I've got decreases in here because that's not the fund they're going to be using in 2022. So I have that correction.
Okay.
And the JRIG grant from the Common Pleas, they do have an additional $45,480 coming in that they need in their contract services for 2022. So all these kind of filter in as we get them done. So there's no such thing as being done with our budgets. So that'll be the changes to the non-general fund.
Little cleanup.
Need a separate motion for that?
No, you can just include that in
Okay,
and when
very
I
good.
read the rest of them.
All right, go ahead.
So I have a supplemental appropriation into our Children's Services transfers outline for $450,000. We did this last year towards the end of the year, setting money aside for foster care. Obviously, that's our requirement. You can see by the reports that Kathy sends that they're up, so they're, we gave them, I think, 400 last year. And so with our carryover setting decent, recommending 450. And then I have a supplemental appropriation to our transfers outline. This is for 500,000, same as we did last year towards the end of the year after looking at what the current carryover is set at. This is to be transferred to our capital improvement line, just to set some money aside. Obviously, we got a few projects we're talking about next year, some rolling over from this year. I have a supplemental appropriation request from Regional Planning, putting $180,000 into the Opportunity Park Project Fund, the grant money that we got from the state. They need to get that stuff ordered by the end of the year.
We have that in the general fund?
No, this is
Oh,
out of
this is
the,
Grant money.
yes, the
Yeah, but
Opportunity Park Improvement Fund.
So it hasn't arrived
It
yet.
has its own
Yeah, we're
funding.
just setting it up, because I know regional planning doesn't have it. I just had a brain. We're setting up the account, and
Yep.
then money goes directly into that account.
And she needs the appropriations
I
to
did
get
one
it
more
ordered.
question.
Go ahead.
Then the, I can remember it. This transfer out for the capital improvement fund.
Yes,
Will we possibly do any more of these before the end of the year?
only if you want to. This is
Okay,
just,
so this is right now what you think will be.
yep, the same thing we did last year.
But we could do
Yep.
something on Tuesday, but
Yep.
you and I will meet and I'll look at.
Yep,
Well, we could do it anytime throughout the year.
yep,
Yeah, but I'm talking, just for this year.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean, just our little window dressing.
yep.
Exactly, yeah,
And we can
whatever
still
we
do budget stabilization, any of those, if you want to do those.
Okay,
Well, when we do, you know, when
but
we-
right now, you don't have any plans for that, but we can talk about that.
Right.
When we do
Okay.
CSB, it's gonna be drawn down significantly, because that's 750 or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, right, no, that's right. But it's gonna be, that's gonna take it way down.
Yep.
Okay, so we could, just for accounting, we could do
Yep.
some this year and some more next year.
Yep,
Some more this year. Okay, we're good.
yeah, yep.
When you and I talk, maybe we'll have that conversation.
Okay, yeah, if you guys want to add more, we can definitely add more,
Okay.
but I didn't want to go any further than
No, I
last year.
like, yeah, we're good with this,
Okay,
so, okay, thanks.
so that was Opportunity Park.
Government accounting, Mr. Breidenbach, we're moving money. You just have to kind of,
The next one I have is actually the decrease. As you remember, I think the last session, the wrong fund was used for the issue one. So they had already appropriated the 1.3 million into the wrong fund, so they're just doing the decrease. So this isn't a supplemental, it's a decrease for the $1,321,268.19. We should have wrapped it up last
Big
week with the
numbers.
rest. Sorry, that it was just, doing a decrease, just to make sure the money's not in the wrong fund. Then I have a request from Victims Assistance. They need an additional $1,753 into their hospitalization line. I have an appropriation adjustment for, okay, this is the ARP money. This is part of the money that wasn't appropriated for this transfer I asked you to ask for. So we need additional $260,767.35. We had it appropriated in contract services, so this is just an appropriation adjustment to put in the salary lines.
And I know you keep that spreadsheet current.
Yes.
Like any second, it's updated.
Yep.
Okay, so after all this, when we meet, I want to go over that with you.
Okay.
Okay, just give me an update
Yep.
as to
Yep,
what's left.
no problem.
Thank you.
And then I have a supplemental appropriation for our insurance line. I got a call from Tasha yesterday, and I don't know if you remember, the previous year, we had done a holiday for employer and employee in, was it November, October, November? Last year. This year, we only did the employee side and not employer side, so it wasn't budgeted enough, so she needs an extra $92,291.60.
Ooh, so we budgeted as if we were.
Just
gonna
the
have
general
it all.
funds,
We
yes,
did,
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
So,
That's basically a month's worth of our contribution, or one pay,
1 month, I think.
just 1 month.
1 month.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
She
when
said
you
the
did
bill was 98,000 for the
yeah,
general fund
So when we
side.
did the budget, you only budgeted 11.
Yep,
Right.
yep, so.
Well, we didn't know that when we made the decision.
Right, no,
No, but that, we didn't have it anyhow, so.
Right.
That's good.
How
about next year? How you budgeting it?
we did, what did we do,
For
1.2?
2022? Yeah, we're gonna act like we're paying them all?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Assuming,
Okay, we could always, so if we take
Change
it
it.
back, then it'll be a
Right.
holiday for us. too.
right, yep.
Okay.
I think that's all the ones I got in the system. And I have a resolution authorizing the fund transfer to be made to the Children's Services Fund. This is that $450,000 from the general fund. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer to be made to the Capital Improvement Fund, $500,000 from the general fund to the Capital Improvement Fund. I have a resolution authorizing the addendum to the agreement for the subsidy grant for the community-based corrections agreement on behalf of the Seneca County Common Pleas Court. I have a resolution amending the board's orders of September 23rd, 2021, authorizing the SEBCO renewal and plan design established county's premiums. The numbers were just put into our resolution wrong, so we just needed to
Did we
fix it.
just wait until the budget, or we just did it wrong then?
Did it wrong then.
This one
We
was
just had the
one
wrong
did it
numbers.
wrong then.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
okay.
yep. I think that's it.
Okay, that's
I
all I
want to make
have.
that motion, because that's a mouthful.
Okay, I will move that the new business, including supplemental appropriation adjustments, and authorizations be approved.
I'll second that.
Additional discussion? Go ahead, Kylie.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes,
Commissioner Kershaw?
Yes.
good job, Steve.
I know it's confusing.
Okay,
No, it's
anything
good.
else from your end, Stace?
You know me, I ask questions.
Okay, Jimmy, make the announcement. The time
Sure,
comes for
sure.
public
If you're joining us
comment.
on Zoom, you want to come forward during public comment, you can unmute your line and come forward now. I didn't see anything in the chat, so.
Anything from the crowd in the office today?
I got
Yes,
a
Tom.
comment and a question. When you were talking about the ambulance taking the cot out of this one and putting it in 2 and 3 and 4, all I could think about was who was on first base? That's my question now.
Well, I might have made it to second, but I was kind of.
I don't know, on third, that's me.
Alexa, did you follow all that? It was
I was
pretty.
confused.
Not even a little bit.
But I do have a question. Are you going to have to build new buildings for the ambulance services now?
Most probably, yes.
I mean, I was just assuming that, but I.
Yeah, to do, the plan, Tom, to do it right is to, at this point, although nothing's been, we've got the group that meets all the time.
Yeah.
The plan is to have 4 stations in the county, northwest, northeast, south, east, southwest, with people that are able to stay there and they have some living quarters that are decent, and that we would be able, the goal of all this is to get to anybody, anywhere in the county, less than 10 minutes with professional ALS type help if
Yeah,
it's needed.
that's perfect summary. So the question is, will we have to build new buildings? And you know, the county's 15 townships, right? 10 volunteer fire departments, 6 villages, and they all housed in the past, they've had vehicles. But when you want to be cost effective and you want to reach the entire county, we can do it with 4, but we're going to have to strategically place them in, not in the village or not in the fire department, right? So they're going to have to be, that's why.
I mean, it's needed.
In the
a good-
long run, it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's needed a good look for
Cheap.
a long time. It just happens now, Tom, that we've got some of this American Rescue Plan money that we can use. And, you know, we've got a number of folks that are willing across the county to improve, if you will, or advance the kind of service that people are getting. So, you know, our dream, our hope is that we will end up with a countywide system that's very professional and gets to people in a timely fashion.
I know it's been massive. You guys have done a great job trying to get this all put together. I've been following you and
Keep praying, because it's
Yeah,
not
just
easy.
keep praying, you know, we're trying to keep the can here instead of kicking
Yeah.
it again.
yeah.
Good question, that's a great question, and others, Jimmy, will ask that question.
Absolutely.
In the county, so.
Yeah, I don't think it's a question, I mean, to answer it just absolutely, it's not a question of whether we're gonna build new buildings, it's a question of where they need to be placed to
Yeah.
get the job done correctly.
I can think of an even better question. How's it gonna be paid for?
Well, that'll be something that we'll have to discuss at future meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
The good news is we know what the cost is, we're not blind to that. The bad news is we don't have the money right now.
Alexa from AT, any questions for us? You're here live, and we're at public comment and
I
all
don't like
that.
how much
Yeah.
of me is on camera. Not you.
It's interesting, you have to watch, like scratching your nose and everything, it's kind of,
Yeah,
But-
it's very watching my.
we appreciate,
You're not really in the Facebook one, it's just the.
we
the Zoom.
appreciate your coverage and transparency, that's what we're trying to do, so, thank you.
Anything else, anybody got their hands up out there, Jim?
Not saying it.
No?
We
Think
good?
we're okay. Wait, we might have Steve
It is
Kafis?
Kylie said,
7 by
Kylie
now.
said, end under an hour.
We have Steve Kafis, actually.
Steve?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yes, good morning,
Hi.
Steve.
Morning, Commissioners. I just wanted to say a thank you to you and Stacy for continuing to be an advocate for us and continue to stand behind us in protecting the kids of Seneca County. And we appreciate what you've done last year and this year for us in giving us the ability to continue to protect the kids in our county and give us the resources that we need to do that. And I sincerely appreciate that.
Thank you, that's nice of you to say, we appreciate it as well.
Steve, this is Tony Paradiso. Could you please identify for the public what group you're referring to?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So for those who don't know, I'm the Assistant Director of Job and Family Services under Kathy Oliver. And at JFS is where we are is Quad Combined Agency. So not only do we include the JFS piece of Job and Family, which is us determining benefits for Medicaid, food assistance, and cash assistance for people. We also have under our roof our Child Support Enforcement Agency, our workforce portion, which people can come into our OMJ and do job research, work on resumes, help them in any kind of aspect with job searching. And then what I was referring to was a very valuable piece to our agency in regards to our Children's Services Department. We have a staff of about 15 or so, including administrators and supervisors, and they do a tremendous job in working with other county partners and protecting the kids in our county. So that's what I was referring to, how the county commissioners continue to help us in give us the tools to be able to be successful.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Steve. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, we are scheduled to meet again next Tuesday. Is that right? And that will be theoretically the last meeting of the year?
We have still the one tentatively scheduled for
For the 27th?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so I think it's exactly 11 o'clock, so it's exactly an hour. I will adjourn the meeting.